The calm before the rumors. Maplewood Heights had always been the kind of neighborhood that seemed too perfect to be real. Manicured lawns glistened with dew each morning, porches were decorated with seasonal wreaths, and not a single trash bin ever lingered at the curb past pickup day. The heart of this perfection was the Homeowners Association, and at its helm was Margaret Caldwell. Mrs. Caldwell had lived in Maplewood Heights for nearly 20 years, and during that time, she had built a reputation as both protector and enforcer of neighborhood order. Some admired her dedication. Others whispered about her sharp tongue and her endless supply of rulebooks. So when Ethan Miller bought the modest corner house at the edge of the cul-de-sac, no one expected him to cause a stir. Ethan was in his mid-30s, soft-spoken, with kind eyes and a quiet smile. At the community barbecue, he blended in seamlessly, asking about local schools, shops, and even offering his homemade cornbread as a neighborly gesture. But soon, Maplewood Heights began to notice little things. Late one evening, a flatbed truck rolled into Ethan's driveway. On its bed sat heavy pallets of concrete, steel beams, and industrial tools. A few neighbors peeked from behind their curtains, puzzled. Renovations, perhaps? But why so much? The next week, another delivery came, this time, ventilation pipes and generators. At first, neighbors brushed it off. But then came the sounds. Soft at first, like distant tapping. Then deeper, drilling, rumbling, and strange vibrations that seemed to echo through the ground at odd hours. Some swore the noises came from beneath their feet. At the monthly HOA meeting, Mrs. Caldwell cleared her throat. "Neighbors," she said, adjusting her glasses, "I believe we need to discuss the Miller property." Hands shot up. Voices overlapped. "I've seen trucks arriving after midnight. There's noise, underground noise. Something's being built, and it's not a patio." Mrs. Caldwell pursed her lips. "Renovations, perhaps," she murmured, though her eyes were sharp with suspicion. From that night forward, the HOA's watchful gaze narrowed in on Ethan. Yet whenever they visited, they found nothing unusual. Dela was pristine. The garage was spotless. Ethan greeted them with calm politeness, offering iced tea and a smile. "Just making improvements inside," he'd say lightly. "Nothing against your guidelines." On the surface, all seemed ordinary. But Maplewood Heights couldn't shake the feeling that something was stirring beneath its very foundations. The HOA's watchful eyes. Weeks passed, and the whispers only grew. Neighbors reported seeing workers slip quietly into Ethan's backyard, carrying tools and crates that vanished into a shed. Others claimed they heard machinery whirring beneath the ground late into the night. At another HOA meeting, tensions flared. "We can't ignore this any longer," Mr. Harris, a board member, declared. "If he's building something without approval, it's a direct violation of our bylaws." Mrs. Caldwell nodded gravely. "Then we'll investigate." The HOA arranged surprise inspections, but every time, Ethan seemed one step ahead. They found nothing but a tidy home with spotless counters and neatly folded towels. "No construction equipment in sight." Ethan's calm demeanor only deepened their frustration. "With all due respect," he said during one inspection, "I've read the bylaws thoroughly. I assure you, nothing I'm doing violates them." Mrs. Caldwell narrowed her eyes. "We'll see about that." Yet despite their efforts, the mystery only thickened. And with each unanswered question, suspicion curdled into mistrust. Children whispered about secret tunnels. Parents speculated about hidden bunkers. The HOA, once a symbol of order, now buzzed with paranoia. The hidden world revealed. It was the storm that betrayed Ethan's secret. One September evening, thunder rolled over Maplewood Heights. Rain hammered the streets, pooling against curbs and swelling into gutters. By midnight, the storm grew fierce enough to wash away soil near the edge of Ethan's backyard. And that's when the ground gave way. A sinkhole opened, revealing a staircase, concrete, reinforced, and lit from below. Neighbors rushed to the site, their flashlights trembling. Gasps filled the air as they peered down into a glowing chamber. Beneath Ethan's yard stretched a network of underground rooms, hallways, and living spaces. Mrs. Caldwell's face blanched. "What on earth?" Ethan appeared at his back door, rain dripping from his hair. For the first time, the calm mask slipped. He sighed heavily, then descended the staircase. The neighbors followed, unable to resist. Inside, their eyes widened. The underground homes were fully built, rooms with walls of reinforced concrete, air filtration systems humming quietly, and spaces designed not for secrecy, but for safety. Finally, Ethan spoke. "You want the truth? These aren't bunkers of rebellion. They're homes, homes that can withstand storms, fires, even earthquakes. I've been building something Maplewood Heights doesn't yet realize it needs." The silence that followed was deafening. The clash of vision and rules. The revelation split the neighborhood. Some residents were awed. "This is brilliant," whispered Mr. Jacobs. "Imagine what this could mean for families in danger." But others, led by Mrs. Caldwell, were furious. "Rules are rules," she snapped at the next HOA meeting. "He built without approval, without permits. He undermined the very foundation of our community." Debates turned heated. Friendships strained. The once harmonious neighborhood fractured into two camps, those who saw Ethan as a visionary, and those who saw him as a threat. Lawsuits were threatened. Complaints were filed. Mrs. Caldwell launched a campaign to have the underground structures demolished. Ethan, though calm, carried visible exhaustion. "I didn't do this to defy you," he explained quietly to a small gathering of sympathetic neighbors. "I did this because the world is changing. Storms are stronger. Disasters more frequent. People need homes that can survive when the surface cannot." His words struck a chord, but for some, rules mattered more than vision. The storm that changed everything. Weeks later, nature delivered its verdict. A powerful storm struck Maplewood Heights. Winds tore shingles from rooftops. Floodwaters surged through streets. Trees crashed onto cars and fences. Panic gripped the neighborhood, until families remembered Ethan's underground homes. One by one, they descended into the tunnels. Children clutched blankets, parents carried flashlights, and the terrified community huddled together in the safety Ethan had created. Hours passed. Above ground, chaos reigned. But beneath, the underground home stood strong, dry, warm, and filled with the hum of steady generators. When the storm finally subsided, neighbors emerged, shaken but safe. Their homes above were battered, but they themselves had survived. Tears filled Mrs. Caldwell's eyes as she looked at Ethan. "You saved us," she whispered, her voice breaking. Ethan shook his head. "No. I just built what needed to be built." From that day forward, the HOA could no longer deny his vision. The underground homes became a symbol of resilience, not rebellion. And Maplewood Heights learned a lesson that would echo through its history. Sometimes the greatest strength lies not in rigid rules above the ground, but in the courage to build something new beneath it.